Paddy, can you tell us why we're here today?
So, Mike, we're here at Sheebeg, just outside Keshcarrigan in County Leitrim for the start of the Leitrim Heritage Week, where we had a talk there about the bones that were taken out or unearthed from the cairn here behind us, which is legend had it that it was the burial ground of both Finn McCool and Grania, and they were excavated and they ended up in the National History Museum, and until 2024, the lay-in boxes, a couple of the bones did, and somebody got a bit of interest in it. And through both Professor Peter Halligan and Niamh Daly, the archaeologist, they devised a program together, researched it, and they came to give a presentation to us here in Taylor McKeown's at Keshcarrigan in County Leitrim on their findings of what was in the box.
So, Niamh, do we know exactly who's buried here?
So we're standing here obviously at Sheebeg, and we've done some recent osteoarchaeological analysis which has illustrated that from the finds delivered to the National Museum in the 1930s after the unlicensed excavation, we can confirm that we had two mandibles, one belonging to an adult male and the other belonging to an adult female. We also had additional loose teeth in the assemblage, that we can now bring up our minimum number of individuals from 2 to at least 3, because we have one tooth that couldn't possibly belong to the first 2 individuals.
And do we have a date on how long they may have been here?
Yes, so we applied for radiocarbon dating, and the dates came back, I suppose from today's date, if we go back, they're coming in at 5,600 to 5,300 years ago, which places them in the early Middle Neolithic in Ireland. So a fascinating date from Sheebeg.
And in terms of significance, when we compare that with the likes of Newgrange, do we know?
So the dates we have from Newgrange are roughly around 5,200 years. And as I say, here we're looking at 5,600 to 5,300. So we know they are older than the passage tombs in the Boyne Valley.
So, Peter, you spent many childhoods here at this cairn.
In the 1960s, yeah. My grandfather, this is where we used to visit from Dublin. And we woke up here. This was kind of the daily pilgrimage. And we'd hear stories about Finn McCool. And then we heard stories about the excavation. It was all kind of great magical stories. And we just parked them and left them. And then when one's parents dies and he's like that, you go and start looking again, and realizing there is documentation and there are reports. And it turned out to be a very interesting story to try to match the mythology or dispel some of the mythology. But one of the great side sort of results of this was the archaeology, because I wasn't specifically looking at that. But then when I discovered that it was human, I thought, why don't I get a archaeologist involved? And that's where Niamh came in. And then we approached the museum. Quite a few hurdles, but we got there.
And there are bones, so there are, which have been dated.
But the idea that they were male, female, and then the two characters, I mean, why did people do that in the country? I mean, quite a different country to where we are now, as it were, with beliefs and values and so forth. So it's really interesting to know, what motivated them to do at that point in time. But from us, from childhood, the rest of my siblings, this was always a magical place. And so it was great to actually go in and see the individuals who did the excavation. Yes, it was unlicensed, but that was actually an intriguing part of it. Because as I showed you in the presentation, that it wasn't well known. And the Gardaí didn't know about it. Some of the councils didn't know about it. And that's the reality. When you dig down, it's not a simple linear story. It actually turns out to be interesting. But it's people. People make it interesting. And it happens to be people that are related to you. That's why you do it.
Sam, can you tell us the significance of this cairn and where it's situated?
Yeah, sure. So this is Sheebeg cairn, and just behind me there is Sheemore. And along this valley, there's a whole load of prehistoric monuments. So you've got the little portal tomb or dolmen at Lochscour. And then just below us here at Scrabba, there's a collection of prehistoric monuments. And I think it's, like personally, from a landscape archaeological point of view, it could be something to do with the river systems. It's now the Shannon waterway, Shannon Canal. But Lough Scur is the end of a river system that flows like St. John's Lough, Gardaí's Lough, down past Ballinamore. It's the Woodford River. And then that eventually stops at Lough Scur here, which is spring-fed. But then just to the west of that is the beginnings of the Leitrim River. And the Leitrim River is now again part of the Shannon system. But before the canal was built, this river flowed along this valley and came out of the River Shannon. So it could be, looking at the landscape, that these monuments at Sheebeg and Sheemore and the monuments dotted around the valley here are related to this interconnectivity between the two biggest river systems in Ireland, the Erne and the Shannon, because the Leitrim is the tributary of the Shannon, and the Woodford River and the associated lakes are tributaries of the Erne system. So it could be something to do with linking these places. But as well, it's a very dominant hill in the landscape. It and Sheemore are the highest hills here, and then next along is Fina, and it has a big, dense concentration of monuments. So it could be to do with the intervisibility. It's connecting distant places. So like you can see Cornhill in Longford, and it has 2 passages on its summit. Looking over at Slieve Bawn, just above Strokestown, Roscommon, it has a possible passage on the summit where there's a 1950s crucifix on the top. Slieve Glaw over in County Cavan, it too has a cairn that might be a passage. The cairn on the summit of Quilca in Fermanagh is visible from here as well. The one over at Rigna at Kilronan Mountain, so and you can see Carrowkeel from here as well, a big passage. So it could be, these passage tombs on these hills here at Sheebeg, Sheemore, are related to this interconnected landscape, looking at distant ancestors and other cairns, maybe through bonds or through other associations.
Sam, just to finish off, blessed with lovely weather today.
Yeah, isn't it mighty? Great, yeah.
And
it's a bit hazy. We'd normally be able to see the Ox Mountains and even as far as Knocknashee and Sligo near Tubbercurry. But it's, blessed with the weather. It's awesome.
Sam, thank you.
Oh, no, my pleasure.
Well, Mike, I grew up here. I suppose, I spent my summer holidays here, and we all knew about the story about Sheebeg, that it was the burial site of Finn McCool, and it really fired our imaginations as children. And of course, as we grew up then, we thought, the whole thing's just, mythology. So it's wonderful now to have attended today's talk that my brother Peter gave, and Niamh as well, about the history, and then the punchline to realise that the carbon dating has dated the human remains back to 5,600 years or in around that area. I mean, that's amazing, older than Newgrange. So it's very exciting, and it's just wonderful, because when I think of my parents and my grandparents and what it means to the whole family to know that we were, sitting on such an ancient historic site that has plenty more secrets to give up. So it's been an amazing day. It's great.
And now, a local poem by local poet Lynn Reynolds. Sheebeg, your beauty is seldom found, a legend so mighty, neath a small fairy mound. Walking your pastures, it's an honour to all. Grandeur and wonder are sure to befall. It's peace and tranquil in your silent hill, with lush carpet of green on a velvety hill. Wherever one turns, it is magic one sees. Surrounded by nature, it glorifies and frees. Each mythical, magical mystery you hold, each legend and story forever to be told. We carry a passion and pride for you, and the secrets you hold neath your green fairy dew.